Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for September 20th, 2024. I'm Benji Fisher, sharing my screen and moderating. And also here are Ralph Kohler, Aaron McHale, Andres Vankov, Anmol Goel, Offer Shao, and Simo Helston. So someone suggested that we look at this issue. It is number 3320689. Allow WebP quality to be configurable in GD2 image manipulation toolkit settings. So I haven't looked at this issue before. But I can probably follow these instructions. Here, I've set up the site. I'll give you the link in Zoom chat. And Ralph has also shared a site. Ralph, is that a site where you've applied the patch?
Yep.
So maybe I will try your site.
I've also added the path to the page in question.
And then we go to
admin config media image toolkit.
configuration, media, image tool.
It just one note, the default setting is the lossless WebP checkbox is unchecked. I just saved it with lossless WebP before, so. And Benji, are you talking again? Of course, your audio is gone. In case.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, that is working.
All right. I'm just rejoined from my laptop. Can someone
Link again.
Thank you. I guess I'll share my screen. Go. All right, you see me logging into Ralph's
Yep.
site? Okay.
And the link to your own site is the following.
Thank you. It's always hard to find Zoom chat when you're sharing. Zoom is pretty amazing, but it does have some annoying features. So I was asking, is there anyone on the meeting who is not familiar with the admin screen we've been looking at? And I don't see anyone speaking up. Okay, so we're adding this configuration option for how the image toolkit will handle WebP images. It seems a little odd, this help text. This will override the WebP quality settings below. I guess, Ralph, you said the default was to be unchecked.
Yes.
So by default, you see the WebP quality option, and presumably this help text is nearly identical to the help text for JPEG quality. But it's a little odd that once you check this, that goes away, and this bit of help text seems confusing. Is that what the usability concern is, or is there something else?
There are quite a few.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
So, well, one thing is that I don't know actually how it does by default, or is the default currently in the core that WebP is fixed to 75% lossy quality. Does somebody know?
I haven't changed anything with the JPEG quality. That is the default. I only checked the lossless WebP.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if it's if WebP is by default lossy, and then it can't be changed. But so I would have expected there that it wouldn't be fixed to be the same quality as the default JPEG quality. But anyways, one thing is that we should make sure that it doesn't change the current default. So if a default WebP is set for lossless, it should be set for lossless. If its default is to set WebP to, let's say, 90%, it should be 90%. So, but that's something I don't know. What's the default behavior when you can't change it?
So let's assume for the sake of discussion that the people working on the issue have already considered that and that the default behavior is unchanged.
Yeah, so the second thing is that there are three input elements there. One of them is labeled JPEG quality, one is WebP quality, and then there is that lossless WebP. So in my my view, lossless WebP and the compression level, they are both settings for WebP quality. So it would be, in my opinion, it would be better to have a WebP quality containing both the checkbox for lossless WebP and the percentage for compression level, so that they would be kind of it would have two sections, JPEG quality and WebP quality.
That makes sense to me. Again, there are no settings for WebP without the patch, so all of the WebP options are being added by this patch, and I agree it would make sense to group them together rather than have this sort of conditional progressive disclosure be the only connection between them. Go ahead, Ralph.
Just one technical question. Since there is a lossless WebP checkbox, is the, in air quotes, processing different if it's lossless, meaning that something is completely skipped? Meaning the compression algorithms. So meaning if you set it to 100%, if is then the compression run anyway? Because for example, for JPEG, it is run on every save, no matter to which percentage you set the quality. And you generate with every save more visible or non-visible artifacts. And therefore the question is if there is an actual difference between lossless and WebP, and if WebP is more clever in that regard.
Actually, it's in the last comment on the issue, it's mentioned that image WebP lossless equals to value of 101.
Oh.
So there is a link.
Paste the link in here.
Actually, it's quite nice to be working in the same team with the person who makes these well thought comments with the references.
Let's see. Also, having switched to my laptop, I no longer have the issue open, but here it is. And that last comment you mentioned was from Sakru. It's kind of weird that 101 is is the setting for lossless. Let me read this last point of that last comment in full. Need for lossless checkbox on form. Since the img webp lossless constant equals to 101 value, see this reference, we could remove the checkbox and treat 100 selection the same as lossless selection. This is how intervention/image does it. And that is some repository on GitHub. I'm not familiar with the intervention/image, but it's some sort of PHP image processing library.
And there on the comment on that, it said that Imagic expects 100 value for lossless in WebP format. So the idea would be to have the same value for GD and Imagic, I guess.
Where I don't see a reference to ImageMagick here.
It's on that GitHub page. On that.
Where I navigated away from. Value of 101 is lossless encoding with GD, but ImageMagick or Imagick expects 100.
So wondering if the idea is to, if the value on the form is 100, then to pass 101 to GD, or is it? Yeah, we don't actually have to worry so much about that. Just that if we decide that quality of 100 on the form should mean that the image should be processed as lossless quality image.
Right. So it would certainly simplify the form if instead of the checkbox and the numeric entry, if we had a single numeric entry.
Yeah, then we would also get rid of that problem with quality setting below on the checkbox.
That's right. So on the other hand, it's perhaps misleading. If someone enters 100 and we say a value of 101, what do people think? Is it worth being misleading in this case in order to simplify the form?
I think it would be enough to mention that in the description.
So let me just use my browser tools to add something to the help text. We can, if we decide to go this route, we can refine Web text. So still, what do people think of having a single input rather than two? It goes with the less is more philosophy. I get a thumbs up from Simo and from Andre. Are other people undecided, or do you dislike the idea?
Less is more is always a good approach, I think, generally.
The only detail I'm still unsure about is, yeah, the aspect with the lossless and the 101. It just would be interesting if 101 would be sort of different to the 100, or if it's negligible. And one other detail, oh no, it's okay. I just skimmed. At first, I thought they use the 100 for lossless WebP placed at the end would be too far at the back, but yeah. The other thing is the higher values mean better image quality, but bigger files also refers to the quality, so it's okay. In general, I'm also pro the removing the checkbox, but still my worry is the 101 detail and lossless.
So I'm sorry, you're worried that.
Yeah, that the result is slightly different with a 101 compared to a 100.
I mean, I just can't think of a use case for using 100. It seems much more likely that if someone enters 100 that they want lossless compression.
On Google developers documentation, I read, note, older readers may not support files using the lossless format. So there might be some browser incompatibility with older browsers.
Okay, so there actually is a use case for 100, although it's well,
I'd be happy to recommend having 99% if you want to support old browsers.
we could let people explicitly set 101.
It does feel 101 does feel a bit weird. I just like it's a weird. No, it's not a pattern that you usually think. Like you think 100% or 0% are the two extremes. You know, like
Well, it always bothers me, but people do say things like 101%, 200%, 1,000%.
yeah.
But I don't want to join them.
I don't really have a strong objection to the checkbox. Like I think I don't know if that's what people were saying. Like if there was people had if the reason we're doing this is because there was an objection to having the checkbox, but
If we do keep the checkbox, then we might add a warning to its help text with a link to the Google developer documentation that Simo just mentioned. This may cause problems for some older browsers and make insert a link to the Google developer documentation. Something like that. Oh no. Surely it's possible to put a link. Anyway, you got the idea, I hope. Ralph, go ahead.
Just one thought. If we would go with a checkbox aside your warning, would it make sense to change the verb from define to set the image quality for WebP to lossless compression, and remove that this will override the WebP quality settings below, so that the directional copy there? Because the person checking automatically sees if it's unchecked.
I think that's a fair point, although I'd like to decide whether we have one or two form elements before thinking too hard about the text, but I see your point.
And also, if going with two form elements here, I think it would also make sense to indent the WebP quality to the same left align it to lossless WebP and the description. So to indent it, that it's visually also a part of the checkbox.
Yeah. Also, it would be might make it a little bit easier if it started with WebP instead of the word lossless, so that it would be quite clear that this section is about WebP. So start with that one, or make it kind of a wrapper or field set.
I was thinking same
Mhm.
thing. So yeah, the checkbox comes after the drop, but it acts as a toggler too.
Yeah, if we keep this behavior that when it's checked, the other one is hidden, then I think we should keep the order the same. First the checkbox, and then if we decide that both should always be shown, then we put them in either order.
But I think lossless is it describes the quality of the WebP, and the percentage describes the compression or lossiness, but both describe quality. So lossless is kind of the highest quality. So I think the quality should be like some kind of a, what's that, the main header or the main label for both of them.
Well, they don't necessarily have to have a label. I mean, you can have a field set without a label, but that might not be a good idea. I'm not actually sure.
Or how about simply, like JPEG quality, add a WebP quality title, and then have a checkbox lossless and underneath the quality.
Yeah, I think if we agree to put them in a field set, then we could simplify the labels. I think basically what Ralph is suggesting, or perhaps some slight variation of that. Are there other usability questions on this issue?
What Ralph said about changing that define to set, yeah, that was on my list as well. And I'd like to actually see it for all the descriptions, because we don't get to define anything. We just get to choose from predefined. options. So it's kind of a, yeah, set or choose or select. So set would be the shortest word. We don't get to define the quality in that sense.
Okay, but the usability questions are all about this configuration form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so changing the word define to set in all those, I think it would be good.
So to extend it to the JPEG quality description as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
What are the default states of the WebP, as in the JPEG sits at 2075 and WebP also at 70?
The lossless checkbox was unchecked per default, and the WebP quality number field was empty.
For me, it had WebP quality at 75% when I did a clean install with Umami.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, what did you say was?
For me, when I did I checked out the branch and then did a new installation with Umami profile. Then I had 75%.
75. Whoops.
Out of curiosity, is there some sort of recommendation or best practice, like for JPEG quality 75? Is it possible that an even lower WebP quality gets to an equivalent picture quality? And so that default could be even set lower, maybe?
Do you see that as usability issue, Ralph?
At least it would save the person the research, so sort of. It touches at least usability from my point of view. But yeah, mainly it's web performance and display quality. But yeah.
Simo is giving us a link.
I'm not sure that's something we could make a recommendation on a usability review, though.
I wouldn't make a recommendation, just leaving a note and ask if there is some data, and people working on the issue might have an answer for that.
Yeah, so for the sake of the recording, this link is https://developers.google.com/speed/webp/docs/webp_study. And I guess this provides some answers to the questions of WebP versus JPEG. Does it give recommendations at some point? Conclusion. The study evaluated WebP compared to JPEG. WebP file size is smaller. So the conclusion doesn't say anything explicitly about whether the perceived results are similar at the same SSIM. But anyway, I think as Aaron was just saying, I think that's out of scope for the usability questions. So I think basically we have to decide first whether to have one or two form elements, whether to have just the numeric field with some help text, and then decide whether to go with 100 or 101 for lossless. Whether to have just this one form element or also to have the checkbox. And I guess the advantage of a single numeric field is that less is more. It's a less cluttered form. The disadvantage is that we have to decide whether to use 100 or 101 to indicate lossless quality. It works differently depending on the toolkit. Here we've selected GD2. A lot of sites will be using Image Magic, which works a little differently. There's another disadvantage is that, or an advantage to having two, is that we can, if we want to, give some additional information that choosing lossless may have difficulty for older browsers. And I wonder if we look on the main Drupal.org documentation page, how much information is there for, and how do you find documentation for modules? Should probably have a bookmark for that. It's not APIs. It's not Drupal 7. Where are the core modules? Here we go. Core modules and themes. And then it would be the image module, right? I don't see anything here.
Setting image quality, there's a point, and that refers only to JPEG quality. Right before troubleshooting the section, if you scroll down.
There we go, setting image quality.
That would have to be extended as well then.
And there's also this link, which goes to the API docs. So I guess we should expand this as part of this issue. Someone should edit this page and say something about WebP, and this might be the right place to have the warning that lossless might not work on older browsers. Here, let me share this link in the Zoom chat. Whoa. Okay, so we have to make a decision. One form element or two. Anyone want to argue in favor of one or the other? I don't see anyone speaking up, so votes. Who's in favor of a single form element? I'm not sure I've made up my own mind. And who's in favor of two form elements? I see two thumbs up. 3 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up. And why do you prefer having 2 form elements? Is it because of what I was saying, that we could give a link to the documentation on lossless support?
Since it changes how the image is stored or what kind of thing, like how it processes it, then it's kind of easier to not to mix the settings. So it's, for me, it makes it clearer.
Okay, and you get a thumbs up from Ralph on that. And
Yeah, I don't think there's any. It's not a crowded form, and also it's it's probably clearer having those 2 elements.
okay, and it avoids the 100 versus 101 option, which is sort of kludgy. Okay, so we'll recommend keeping the 2 form elements. And do we agree that they should be put inside a field set? I get a thumbs up from Ralph and from Simo. I think they should be inside a field set. Thumbs up from Anmol. Anyone disagree? Go ahead, Andre.
No, I'm just like, in this context, what is a field set? They're each wrapped in and toggled to be opened.
So a field set is not a details element. A field set is always open thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer things to be open by default for sure. So I'm for
Yeah,
that too.
so this is actually a field set and it's collapsible, but visually the expanded details element is similar to the field set. So you'd have this border around it. And so we'd have a field set inside here enclosing these 2 elements, and the field set would have a label.
Yep, sure.
So let's see. I mean, just for the sake of having a place where I can type, let me go here. So something like web key quality. So that's the field set. And then indented inside that, you would have web key quality, lossless, checkbox, and what I'm typing isn't necessarily what we'd have. We could just make it quality. So I'm suggesting that we would not repeat WebP since it's inside the field set. And just have lossless and quality as the labels. Does that sound reasonable? I get a thumbs up from Andre. Go ahead, Ralph.
The only nitpick, I completely agree in regards of there are lossless label to strike WebP since it's in the field set title, but if the field set is called WebP quality, then for the label for the numeric field is also in air quotes, sort of redundant by using quality again. Wouldn't it be better something like compression, or I don't know?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Simo?
Yeah, I'm thinking, is it obvious that if you uncheck lossless, it's compressed? So we could use radio buttons for the two options,
Oh,
Oh,
and then selecting the compressed version with maybe then include the percentage, and then it would be obvious.
Aaron, you were reacting with some emoji. What were you trying to say?
I was just strongly agreeing with what Simo said. I think actually having, because we generally like use a checkbox where it's a very clear on off, like yes or no, whereas this is, you know, is maybe a little less clear, like you said. So actually having radio buttons is perhaps more appropriate here. I think you probably want I guess I would go with like lossy and lossless, but maybe I don't know if the radio button labels should also say like, you know, compressed and non-compressed. So maybe like compressed brackets, you know, lossy, compression brackets lossless or something, because like not many people might understand those technical terms. But it's useful to have them still. So yeah.
So I guess I'm not sure how it would look to have the numeric field inside the second radio button option. Ralph?
yeah. My question would be in the similar vein. How are you matching it? Would be the numeric field basically in line with the radio button, or would be there the label, for example, let's go with lossy for now, and underneath indented then the numeric field?
Right, something like that. You get a thumbs up from Aaron, and I guess a thumbs up from Simo. So I guess the idea is we might still have the progressive disclosure, just instead of a checkbox, we'd have radio buttons. And when the second radio button is selected, then we would see the numeric field. Is that what people are thinking?
Yes.
Okay. Thumbs up from Aaron, yes from Simo. Okay, so basically it would work the same as we have here, but instead of the checkbox, we'd have radio buttons.
And with radio buttons, we wouldn't need even a field set, but it could have a simple radio button title that way. So it won't be collapsible anymore.
Oh, so you want to give up on the idea of the field set with this option?
Just searching for an example right now. Yeah, because if you take a look at, if you go, for example, to a content type and the submission form settings, there you have radio buttons, and those have a title and 3 options there. So there isn't not really a need for a field set then. And it's still separated and clearly communicated that way.
What you're suggesting I go to content type?
Content types just. And then on a content type on the edit page, simply. Yeah, as you can see, preview before submitting is the title, and then you have disabled and optional. And there wouldn't be a need for field set because, yeah, it's for me fields having several field sets within each other. It feels like a Matryoshka principle for me always, and feels a bit odd.
Okay, so again, what you're suggesting is something very similar to this, just replacing the checkbox with radio buttons.
Yeah, as we said, it's nothing else. It's just the don't make it a field set necessarily.
Right.
Just
So-
having a title. It's still the same, but just with one less visual control for collapsing, which is not really necessary here, I think, from my perspective.
So something like this. So we'd have two radio buttons, perhaps lossless and lossy. The label for those two radio buttons would be WebP quality. And then when lossy is selected, which I guess would be the default, you'd also have the numeric field for compression. Is that, we only have a couple of minutes left. Is that the recommendation we want to make? Get a thumbs up from Ralph and from Aaron and from Andre and Simo. Okay. So who would like to leave this comment? No volunteers. Oh, also, should the help text, as I've suggested, have a link to something about older browsers, or should we just do that on here on the documentation page for the module? Go ahead.
Maybe simply instead of linking to that Google Docs page, instead maybe on that image page, link to the Docs page, and there make the explanation. It's maybe more precise and more sticking to the pattern used on other pages, the admin UI.
Okay, so definitely update this page and just put a link here or put a link somewhere else.
Would it make sense to make a link between, make the help text between the title and the radio buttons, so it's not directly in close proximity to the one option of the two available radio buttons?
We could do that, or we could put it after the two radio
Put that-
buttons, but I think since it specifically affects the one of the two options, I think it makes more sense to put it there. But
Okay.
we are out of time, and we don't have time to talk about the exact wording of the help text. Okay, if we don't have any other volunteers, then I guess I will try to leave a comment later today. I think I have time to do that.
I can also leave the comment.
Thank you, Simo. Why don't you do it then?
Yeah.
I will be at DrupalCon next week. I plan to run the meeting from there. If something goes wrong, then you might have to do it without me. But thank you all for coming, and hope to do it again next week.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice
Thanks,
weekend.
bye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you.